Qatar is impossible to defend. Qatar is a tiny little peninsula of sand, entirely flat. It can only be defended if it has a U.S. military base there. If it didn't have that, Saudi Arabia, Iran, almost any regional power around Qatar would have conquered it a long time ago. Because it has the largest gas reserves in the world, and it's obviously a succulent prize for any regional power. Given that Qatar cannot survive as an independent state without U.S. military base, it seems to me that the U.S. bosses have the power to direct Qatari foreign policy. Yes. All they have to do is tell Qatar what to do, and Qatar has to jump. So if Qatar is free to finance international jihadism, and in particular to build Gaza into a Hamas terror structure, which is what they did with their money, then it seems to me the logical inference is that this is all the policy of the U.S. bosses, because they could change it in a second.
In almost every country, in every Muslim country that you look at, you have some sort of jihadist insurgency, and you have a government fighting against the jihadist insurgency, and it would be the economic interests of the United States to promote that jihadist insurgency and then sell the solution to the problem to the local government to make sure that both of them are kept within some sort of balance and not achieving actual peace and stability.
They're promoting jihadism. If jihadism is in power, they like it to be stable. If jihadism is not in power, then they promote jihadi insurgency. Would you agree with that?
Exactly. What you're describing, they control both the inflow and the outflow of jihadist activity within areas. So
you're still talking about the U.S. bosses.
I'm talking about the people who make foreign policy choices in the United States.
That's who I mean.
I'm not sure I would call them U.S. bosses because their interests are not aligned with the national interest of the United States.
Oh, well,
they
only
not appear to be.
Okay, so they're not U.S. patriots.
Yes.
But they are the bosses. They make the state-level decisions, so they're the bosses. The people running the United States in the first half of the 20th century happen to have been eugenicists. Yes. This has been documented with great detail by historian Edwin Black, who's the great historian of eugenics. What he finds is that the biggest industrialists in the Anglo-American aristocracy, the Anglo-American power elite, they are real aristocrats in Great Britain and functionally aristocrats in the United States. These people were all ideologues of the eugenics movement. And the eugenics movement is the movement that produced German Nazism. Edwin Black can show that giant amounts of money, diplomatic support, everything were flowing from the United States and Great Britain, from these great industrialists and the aristocrats in Great Britain, to the German eugenics movement that became German Nazism. They were even assisting the German Nazis during the war after Pearl Harbor. So you have a eugenic ruling elite in the United States. They were never removed from power. They stayed in power. The Allies, the Western